best five on the offensive line, and if Mike is a part of that, why does he give you guys the best chance to win in there?
I wouldn't say we've decided. I mean, I think Micah really impressed us with how he played this week. There's no question about it. He earned an opportunity, went in there and took advantage of it. So, I think he's certainly established that he's clearly the mix, as well as the other five guys that have played the majority of snaps. I think, when you put John Ray Reed into that group, I think our, that top seven is kind of what it is right now. And then, we've got, Kalen and Vicona and Treater, some of those other guys that start to make up the next group of guys. But no, it's good to have some depth, and being able to start some different lineups, play with some different lineups, I think will bode well for us because it's a long season.
First real game this week. I know you mentioned yesterday that you guys made some changes just to the travel schedule. What kind of changes did you make, or what lessons do you feel like you learned from that first season?
Well, some of it is just is not just necessarily the actual travel itself, but the week just leading up to it. And as you guys know, we've made some really significant changes to just our weekly practice schedule. Where we're obviously practicing on Sunday nights now. Monday's their off day, and we practice Friday mornings before the game. And so, some of that was obviously getting the team ready for any game, but getting ready for some of this travel and all that we do as well. And so, we've made some changes because we're now practicing on Friday morning. We've made some changes to the time that we fly out there. We're getting, in a sense, we're getting more done early, so it'll be a little bit less to do when we get there instead of trying to, kind of pack in a day's worth. Because if you just get up and leave, then you really haven't done anything that day. So you got to get several things done when you get there. So we're gonna have more done before we leave LA. So it's going to be a little bit more just get there, a couple quick meetings, and then roll. And yeah, we've made a few other changes that just kind of small things that we think have a chance to make a big impact. And so I think that experience and the overall week schedule are probably the biggest differences to somebody that watched maybe how it unfolded last year.
Any particular those small things you're able to share that you feel like would make a big impact?
Well, we've even changed the type of airplane that we're in. When it's a little different when you're an hour and a half or hour and 45-minute flight, especially with the size of some of these guys, and then all of a sudden you're on these planes for 4.5 hours and then getting ready to go play a game. With the time change and all that. So, yeah, we made a couple changes in that. We made, again, a couple changes in the schedule, kind of timing of eating, timing of what time we're putting them to bed. We've done a lot of research on sleep. And while I haven't changed anything drastically from a sleep standpoint, there's a couple of things throughout the week and there that again, it kind of all fits. It's like a puzzle, like one piece affects another, but those are all things that we've taken into account, and I think some of those changes are going to be felt by us.
What are the preparations for going into the Big Ten now? Obviously, out of conference games, your first two, but now you go on the road, and what's your message to the team in a day like this?
Well, these two big practices of the week, Tuesday, Wednesday, are really important just to get the physicality. And I think that's, you've got to prepare that way. We had a really good practice today. Guys were excited. There was a lot of pads popping. It was really physical, intense practice. You got to take the lessons that you learned from the first couple of weeks, the areas that we know that we have to get better. Again, it's in one sense, it's still just football, right? So you got to take what we've learned for these first few games, and there's a lot of valuable lessons. The best teams and the teams that are most prepared for whatever conference they're going into and whatever challenges they have coming up are the ones that they take what they did, they really learn from it, and then they come out here each and every day with a real intentional mindset to go get better at those things. And it's I know it sounds simple, but it's sometimes when you have success or your body's tired, all of a sudden you've been doing it for several weeks. It's to really go push yourself. You gotta mentally just be really into it. And so the best teams and best players have an ability to do that, and that's what we've challenged this team to do.
Now, do the players appreciate the fact you changed the playing equipment?
Yeah, they're going to like more leg room. So yeah, for sure. Who doesn't like more leg room, right? So I think they see the effort of the staff. Our administration. Jen and everybody have been awesome in helping us with this to find things that can help them and help their bodies and help them prepare. And so they see, I think, the extent that we've kept them very informed about like everything that we've done and are doing, because we want them to not only know what we're doing, but why and how it's going to help them. So yeah, no, they're excited about it. They're excited about, I think, some of the changes to the schedule to get them ready to play on the road well.
You mentioned the penalties yesterday. Is that just a matter of staying more disciplined, or like how are you addressing that in practice?
Yeah, I mean, most of the ones that we were disappointed with were discipline penalties. You know, a couple of the hands to the face, where we've got our hands there, and all you got to do is just take it down. Getting your hands to the face initially is not a penalty. You know, hanging on and not letting go is then when it becomes one. And so, yeah, I think those are the ones we're most disappointed with. There were a few aggressive ones throughout the game that are going to happen when guys are competing at a high level. We don't, you know, we coach those. We coach everything, but we don't get too down on guys because of those. The ones that really, really matter are the ones that you did something, it really wasn't even a competitive play, and you just handed them an explosive play and 15 yards on either side of the ball. Those are the ones that we cannot have. So, yeah, I think our message, it's been made loud and clear.
Purdue is a team that has over 50 transfers this season. Is it more difficult to get a read on them just because they are so new, they're gonna still trying to gel?
Yeah, I mean, you get to see a couple games, but you obviously, you know, you don't see everything that way. You know, they've done a good job. Their personnel looks like they took some really good guys, and yeah, they've had to overhaul a ton of players, but give them credit. You know, they came out and got 2 wins and done some really good things with that many new guys and new coaches and all that. So, yeah, give them credit. They look like a very much improved team. It's hard to even compare them to last year because everything's different. I mean, literally everything. Only the location's the same. Yeah, they've done a good job. I mean, we'll, you know, evaluate what we see, and obviously, you know, you'll see some new things on game day, which that's kind of the same each and every year.
When you're going up against a coach who's so familiar with what you do, how does that affect your preparation?
Yeah, I mean, he's going up against us too, you know, so those things kind of go both ways, I think. Listen, I mean, there's obviously going to be some things that both sides are more familiar with because of that. It's still a player's game at the end of the day, right? It's still going to be about, you know, how the teams prepare and how they compete and execute on game day. So, yeah, in a deal like that, I don't know if there's an advantage either way. You know, they'll do what they do, we'll do what we do, and the team that does it the best is going to win the game.
See one more?
What's stood out so far through 2 games, just from the offensive line, how they've played together and that group as a whole?
You know, we've played pretty sound. We haven't made we've made very few just big mistakes. So I think the guys have been steady, been locked in, have been well prepared, and that's been good to see. You know, I think, like I said, I think, you know, Zach Hansen and our staff have done a really good job preparing those guys. I think there's a lot of confidence in that room right now in the plan. And I do think it's a little bit of the impact, which I know, you know, you guys pointed out and have asked me a couple questions about, which is all these guys were, you know, the majority of these guys were high school signees, you know, been developed, have been in the program for a little while. And the longer we are able to do that and more guys you're able to put under that, that's just, you're going to start seeing groups of guys, you know, play more consistent, make less mistakes, play better together. And that group's a good example.
Thank you, Coach Riley.
Thank you.